Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kurojiri, your resident tinkerer and Medarotter, and this is the Medarots News Network, bringing you all the latest developments and happenings with our favorite pet fighting robot series. Now this week it looks like we're finally going to have a chance to relax, have a moment of respite, and finally get a chance to also recoup some lost materials that I'm more than certain that the recently closing Transformers collaboration has very likely drained all of us of. Myself personally, I actually had to end up hard pitying just Optimus Prime alone, and decided to cut my losses there before I lost anything further, and even then that was still a pretty heavy cost, just being able to go that far. But all the same, it was still a very enjoyable collaboration, a household name, and just goes to show that Medarot has most certainly been making a lot of very big friends in incredibly high places, which is very good for the series in the long run. That aside though, this week it looks like we'll be taking a moment back, like I said, to kind of rest, have a moment of respite, and recoup lost materials, which will be great. But we do have the introduction of a new model that was just recently revealed to us thanks to Story Mode, a new monk type that includes a new skill that they're bringing to the table with more information thereof. That being said, let's go ahead and jump right into what was announced this week, of course starting with the gacha banners and who we can expect to grace their appearance this week. Starting the lineup, of course, is the new monk type HMN0 Megawan Nyudo, with a kit of Minus Guard, Provoke, Power Hammer, Tank Legs, and the leg ability of Brilliance. Now, as I said earlier, Megawan we've actually already seen thus far thanks to Story Mode, so he's not too terribly brand new, using that term lightly, but as far as gacha banners are concerned, this is the first official appearance of him being made available to players. Now, as mentioned, he also is bringing a new skill to the table, as you see, called Minus Guard, which, explained briefly, is a defensive-based skill much like any other, but it triggers when the enemy is using ailments. This includes anything from virus, to bug, to deathlock, to tornado, and basically how it works is upon intercepting this particular ailment type move, it will reflect and counter the damage back to sender, as well as reflect the ailment on top of that. So if you plan to inflict Deathlock on Megawan, sorry, not happening. He's going to turn the table on you with that famous old Uno reverse card. In all other situations, though, it does behave like a regular guard. Aside from him, though, we do also have reruns of CRW Crotengu with the kits of Gatling, Double Tornado, Light Legs, and the Climber leg ability. We also have iconic WEA0 Beastmaster with Press, Napalm, Hyper Beam, Multi-Legs, and the leg ability of Trigger Happy. And then, last but not least, NMM0 Hell Magnate with the kit of Giga Gatling, Cross Shock, Meteor, Multi-Legs, and the leg ability of Adversity. Now, Hell Magnite we actually have not seen for a pretty fair bit of time now. Same can be said with Beastmaster to a point, but they're still all incredibly powerful models all the same. And of course, it is also worth noting that with Beastmaster specifically, he is also capable of the tune-up treatment for some extra added bonuses on top of that. So definitely worth looking into any of these models if you feel the need, but if you decide that you'd rather just save your rubies and recoup this week and kind of relax, that's 100% fine too, because being completely honest, that's my entire plan going forward until the next big thing has been announced, since I used a lot of resources going after just Prime alone through these last 3 weeks. But going forward with the fierce battles we have this week, again, a lot of faces we have not seen for a hot minute. Starting the lineup, of course, is KZA-01 Kaizo Korobei, the pirate henchman type, with a kit of Gatling, Rifle, Sword, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Acrobatics. Behind him, we have OWS-0 Papio Chevalier, the Swallowtail Butterfly type, with a kit of Fight Boost, Discharge, Counter Guard, Float Legs, and the leg ability of Mascot. And then last but not least, one that we most certainly have not seen for a while, the Fighting Betta Fish type BTA-0 Mekong Narol, with a kit of Guard Boost, Double Provoke, Sea Legs, and the leg ability of Blowby. Now honestly, all three of these models here are kind of mixed range, and that's to say that they're not necessarily terrible, but they are definitely, I outclassed, I guess for lack of a better term, compared to even most other fierce battles we have, but they're still very solid models to have and make use of regardless, and especially if you are a new player or a rookie just starting out, it never hurts to have these bots in your inventories as a just-in-case scenario either way you look at it. That being said, as an MVP of the week, I would honestly have to give that to Kaizo Konobe in particular, given that his well-rounded kit between shooting and melee will make him a little more beginner and user-friendly compared to Papio Chevalier, who's very melee and interruption-oriented, or even Mekong Narob, which focuses on drawing aggro to himself, which on one hand is great, but that's only if he can actually take it without actually getting crippled too quickly. Now when it comes to events and such this week, thankfully it's going to be an incredibly quiet and very slow week, which I think we're all going to very happily agree upon and welcome, given the recent chaos of the collaboration and just kind of wrapping all that up. This week, though, we do have the reintroduction of the daily missions and a special daily dungeon dedicated to Megawan Ryudo in particular. So this gives you a chance to collect a lot of very useful resources and materials, such as ruby shards or even gacha tickets, as you see here for the daily missions, or even some extra resources through the daily dungeon as expected. In addition to this, we also have a new Super Invasion going live, also featuring Megawan Ryudo in particular, as another way to earn some extra rubies, some cytoplasm, and of course the iconic nameplate as you see here. No real saying on what the modifiers for the Super Invasion might be, because they really do like to mix everything up with these more recent ones. But I am expecting it is probably going to be a pretty nasty challenge, given the fact that Megawan Ryudo can also pull aggro to himself, as well as punish anyone that tries to use ailments to keep the team on edge. So best of luck with that though, Medarotters, if you do choose to go through with it, or if you decide to stall and save it for another day, that's 100% fine too. Just make sure you keep an eye out for any ideas or tips on what to expect when you do go in and tackle it. Lastly, when it comes to game-based content, we are also getting another chapter of the story mode going forward, and I do believe they did announce that going forward through these next several weeks, releases of new story chapters will of course be more consistent going forward, so which will be really nice as a way to keep the Ruby farm up and running, as well as learn more of the story of Arase, Cross, and Hisaki as they meet new friends and new enemies through the current story modes that are currently ongoing. Or if you are still relatively new to the game, lots of story content to be had around learning about these new characters, or even just the stories and the friends they make along the way. On the community front, we are still always looking for translators to assist us with any translation endeavors. Currently, the big push is going towards Medarots 3 and 4 right now. Medarot 3 at last check is currently about 75% complete, but much like with 4, which needs a lot of work that needs done to it, it needs a lot of text that needs translated and typed and plugged back into the game. So if you are knowledgeable in coding or cleaning or Japanese and have some time on your hands, we are more than appreciative of any efforts that you can provide, or if you know someone you can send our way, we are also greatly appreciative of that too. We'd love to be able to see these projects to completion, much like we did with Medarot 1, but we also would love to work on projects like 5 and Navi, and even the later games from the DS and 3DS era, but we can't do that unless we have help. So again, if you are knowledgeable in coding, cleaning, or Japanese, or know someone that is, or would love to donate to the cause, because my buddy Variant, who's one of the heads for the project, also does have a crowdfunding opened up on his page that you can donate to for that, so we can commission the translations instead of having to do them by hand. Of course, I will include links to that below in the comments, so definitely reach out to me or him if you'd like to reach out or ask more about details, so we can fill you in on what has been done and what still needs done up to this point. With the weekly art highlights here on the MNN, these two pieces were only done fairly recently, and I always love looking for weekly art highlights to feature on my channel. I honestly wish I could highlight more than 2, but, screen space and such, with me being here, so I can only do so much. But this piece here by Twitter user BlueMiso99 highlighting everybody's favorite goodest boy and right boy, Dead Dog, the zombie type, that only made his appearance recently in Medarot as a new Ori meta that was community made and also made into an official model. The original artist is Twitter user MNK Shiki. Wonderful guy, honestly loves making a lot of art of his favorite Dead Boy, and honestly we all appreciate that as well. And this piece here by Twitter user Nekamyoban, I do hope I did pronounce that correctly, highlighting a piece that showcases the original Phantom Retort and the original Metal Beetle. But something I found really interesting about this piece is it's not Metal Beetle as in it's an alt skin of the original Metabee. Rather, this is actually the original concept art and sprite art as to what Metal Beetle originally looked like in the original Medarot 1, in contrast to him just being a recolor or retool in Medarot 2 Forward, where it's just a darker color and surrounded and beveled edges. So wonderful work to the both of these people. Definitely give both of them a follow if you'd like to see more Medarot art in your feeds going forward to add more to your day. But with all that being said, like I said, it is going to be a relatively quiet week overall, which, like I said, I do believe we are all going to very openly welcome, given the very heavy and resource-heavy collab that we had thanks to Transformers, which, again, was fantastic, but in terms of resources, not so much. But with that being said, if you'd like to know more, you can follow us below on Facebook at the Medarot News Network page, or the Metabots Forever community on there, where we also stay relatively active. You can also join us on Discord in the link provided and in the comments below, and this will allow you to keep an even closer ear to the ground on the action. This includes any new merchandise that's announced or revealed, my weekly episodes, fan art, questions, community forums with Medarot S or any other fan translations. The Discord will be the first place you hear it before it goes anywhere else. You can also reach out to me personally on Twitter at IsaGamiKura, so if you have any questions or feedback or comments, or would love just to stop in and say hello for any random reason, I leave my DMs open for that very reason, so don't be a stranger, stop on by and say hello and I'll get to you when I can. In addition to this, if you are a streamer, VTuber, or YouTuber and would love to collaborate, whether that means having you here with me on my channel, or me stopping in on yours for a friendly chat or a game, I would absolutely love to coordinate with you. So definitely reach out to me via those DMs, and we can most certainly make something happen and coordinate some schedules. Do also give these wonderful friends of mine a follow in the Medarot community as well. Twitter user Raven20135086, another fellow 3D modeler friend of mine who does some fantastic work on their page, not just with models from scratch, but also with animations that go on top of it. Wonderful work, fantastic designs and animations. Definitely worth a follow if you'd like to see more of that in your feed. And of course, my buddy Dinnick III at Dinnick3rd, also on Twitter and on YouTube as well, that does a lot of musical covers between Mega Man Zero and Medarot as well. A lot of his notable covers being Beat the Diamonds, Galaxy Combat, Days of Typhoon, Dark Knight, a lot of very well-known Medarot battle BGMs. You can see a lot of very nice and creative covers on his channel for that. So give him a follow as well, both on Twitter and on YouTube, if you'd like to see more of those in your feed and add more stuff to listen to. But with all that being said, as always, I do appreciate you all for stopping by, just as you always do. And until next time, this is your host, Kura Isagami of the Medarot News Network, signing out.